Hey, and welcome to episode 2 of Duke Nukem 3D. Let's avoid those rockets. That is an enemy ship, and we have to be very careful not to stand too close to the windows in this level, otherwise we will get shot at. We're going to head back here, and we're going to come to this secrets area, although it's not that secret. We can grab an RPG and some steroids. This is a little shuttlecraft, obviously. So, you'll notice immediately that the skybox here is very different. There's a very different feel to the levels here. There's a very uniform feeling here. All these levels kind of feel like a space base. They all kind of have that feeling of being more cramped, being more uniform. There's a lot less verticality as well at various points in this episode, and it creates a nice contrast. There's actually a secret here. We're going to grab this. There's an atomic health there, and we're going to open the force field there to be able to go into the further part of this level. But as you can see, it looks completely different to what we were seeing in the first episode, and I actually kind of dig that. It's kind of like in Doom, how when you start in the space base and then eventually you end up in hell, there's a massive difference in the way that the levels kind of look and feel, and I feel that this is a very nice contrast between the street levels of LA and the space base here. Obviously we don't have the blue key, we're going to go hunting for that, and it's not too far away, so but we'll have a quick peek into the future parts of the level here. And you can see it's a lot more grey, it's a lot more kind of industrial. You can see like the shuttlecraft there. It just feels a bit different, and I kind of like that. I kind of like that they took a risk on this. I know that this episode does not get the plaudits that the other episodes in Duke Nukem 3D do, but I've never had a problem with this episode. There's our first sight of the new enemies. They are the enforcers, and they kind of replace the pig cops in this episode. We won't be seeing the pig cops until we go back to Earth at the end of this episode. There's a secret here with the Ripper, so we're going to grab that and we're going to head into the rest of the level here. Now that we have the blue key card, we can actually bring down some of the force fields. But as you can see, this is not the same kind of level design. And I like that. I like that they tried something a bit different, even if some people don't like it. So when we use the blue key there, we can open this lift here, and we can head up. It also means that some of these levels are a bit more linear than we previously saw, but, you know, I still think that some of these levels are actually really fun, and I think this level in particular is a highlight of this episode. I think this is a really great first level, very underrated in my opinion. Spaceport, not quite at the level of Hollywood Holocaust, but definitely in the discussion. I don't think there's a weak starting level in the original 3 episodes of Duke 3D. We're going to blow this up. Going to hit this switch here because that opens up the switch puzzle here. Now this is a bit of a mean puzzle because the solution's actually pretty simple. You just have to hit that switch and close the other one off. But what that does, it actually opens up the force fields and allows us to kind of go up and down the space station a lot better. There's also a secret elevator here that brings us to the first new weapon that we'll be seeing, which is the shrink ray. Now if you saw the last video, obviously we got all the weapons that you're going to be seeing in that level, but that technically wasn't a proper level, so I don't really count it as the first time we'll be encountering those weapons. If we jump to the bottom here, we can grab the red key, and if we hit the switch there, we get a refill on our jetpack and the atomic health. The jetpack's not as useful in this episode, and I think that as we're going through, you'll see that there's a few times when it can be really advantageous because it allows us to skip big portions of levels. But there are other levels where, like, using it is not really as useful as it could be. But as you can see, these corridors lead all the way up the ship. Let's take care of you. So here we get the Devastator. In my opinion, probably the funnest weapon to use in Duke Nukem, because it's basically the RPG, but without the blowback on you. So even if you're really close to the enemy, you don't really get damaged all that much. It's actually pretty useful against the boss enemies. So we're going to head back up here. Oh, yes. So you're going to be seeing a lot of these guys in this episode because this is their introduction episode, but also because the pig cops, who were kind of like the, you know, tanky enemies in the last episode, don't make an appearance in this, and that's because they don't really fit the theme of this episode. We're also going to see another enemy here who I despise. I don't know anyone who loves those things. Those things just blow up as soon as you walk up to them. I also love that you can actually see, I assume that's supposed to be the next level, because this is like a little shuttlecraft that we're going to be taking into the next level. There's a lot of little details in this first level here that really kind of make this feel like a different experience, like you're getting something else out of the Duke Nukem 3D experience, and I really like it. I really love the space aesthetic, and I love where it goes in the episode. But you'll see in the N64 version here, they kind of pull it back quite a bit, and the results are interesting. So we lose like the giant Earth silhouette and the moon silhouette, but we kind of get darkness. I mean, interesting. We also get to sort of look out of the ship here to see the enemy craft going overhead, which is a choice. So as we come around here again, you can sort of see that everything's very similar in terms of like what we're going to see in the level here. I do kind of like how it just looks like that's just flying around in the void. But I digress. So I'm going to head down here. You can also find those on some of the levels, which is really good for restoring health, because obviously there's no water sources otherwise for you to drink from. It is an interesting choice to not have a skybox, I have to say that. You can also kind of see that the grenades are struggling to get up to the enemies there, so we're going to have to come up here and shoot them in the face. But again, this secret is still here, and we can still get pipe bombs, which is pretty cool. So, as you saw there, the ship outside was shot at us, I assume because it may have seen us briefly, even though we were deep in the level. It's kind of interesting, sort of seeing how some of these enemies and how some of these weapons have been translated over to the N64 version here. Because the SMGs like have 400 ammo, which I think is double what the Ripper has normally. But it's still really useful. I do really enjoy using the SMGs. Use the pipe bomb there. So you can see this level is actually quite vertical, but you'll see as we kind of move through the levels over the next few videos, not all the levels are built in this way. This level seems to have been very specifically designed to kind of create a tall level rather than a wide one. So click this switch here. Grab the jetpack. And we can go exploring. So they haven't changed that. In some of the previous levels, they actually changed the codes on some of them. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. That for me is like a massive downgrade. Even if they just had a big giant Earth over in the distance there, it would look a lot better than that. But it is interesting to see that like they didn't really have to make that many changes to the level itself. Again, I do actually kind of like the space aesthetic, and I do like some of the future levels and how they kind of play with the lunar setting. I think that one strength this episode does have, and really something that Duke Nukem across the board manages to achieve in this game, is that all of the episodes kind of have a very strong identity. Here's the RPG replacement. So yeah, it kind of makes moments like this feel a lot less interesting because you're kind of just looking out into the void of darkness. just going to take out these guys here. So the final thing we got to do here is go and get the shrink ray weapon. I just wanted to show you as well, this kind of all links up together. So again, good level design, because there's a lot of spaces like that which are kind of used for multiple purposes, and it's fun. What is interesting here is that they've actually got rid of the elevator down. You actually have to jump into a vent to come down here, and they've kind of redesigned this whole area down here. So yeah, this is interesting. Where does this lead? Okay, so as soon as we kind of get to the top of this lift here, like we get pushed back down immediately. So, oh, so that's a very weird wall. It was both a fake wall and not a fake wall from the other side. But yeah, we save that babe there, and yeah, we get the shrink ray or the expander, depending on which way we want to use it. Very interesting that they chose to redesign this area. And we can get back out here, so it's not like they've changed much, it's just something that they felt had to be done. I assume because there were limitations on having stuff on top of each other. And again, here we are. There's the base. Again, I assume that's supposed to be the next level, so it looks like we're going to be shooting into that. But again, big fan of Spaceport. What's your thoughts on it? Let me know in the comments.